Hello guys, Brad here again with another fragrance video. And the other day I was thinking about a couple of things. Number one, marriage and relationships and how they seem to be very fragile in this day and age. People can break up or get divorced for the simplest of reasons, like, oh, I don't like the way he or she squeezes the toothpaste, or I don't like the way he or she hangs the toilet paper in the bathrooms. And also, I got to thinking about the power of fragrance. You know, a lot of people talk about the concept of the panty dropper, how fragrance can be so alluring, so titillating, so amazing, so pheromonal that it can cause a person to want to be your wife, your girlfriend, have your babies, have your grandchildren, have your children's children call you granddad or whatever, you know. But so a fragrance can be a very powerful thing in a positive way, but also in a negative way, I think, too, as well. So I want to come up with this thing called the Ultimate Fragrance Relationship slash Marriage Survey, because I think it's important to maybe know a few things about your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend before you tie that knot and make it permanent. Maybe some fragrance issues could be a friction point in a relationship if they don't get addressed early on before it's too late. So I came up with 5 things, and maybe in the comments section you can think of some other ones to add. Maybe we can come up with a great survey of questions that help make marriages more successful. So number one, I came up with sissy sprayer versus fragrance bather. Now we all know about a fragrance reviewer, Curly Fragrance, that actually seems offended that people don't overspray their fragrances, and I think that's a very controversial take on fragrances. I think most people would rather be with somebody that undersprays than oversprays. I know if you do overspray a fragrance, it can actually make you physically ill. It could make you sneeze, cough, or choke or something. So you don't want to be with somebody that's going to choke you out because of their fragrance. And I would say there's probably like a 1 in a million chance that a person would be offended that you didn't wear more fragrances or spray more, but that could possibly happen, like if you're in a relationship with Curly Fragrance or somebody like that. So that's the first issue, the sissy sprayer versus the bottle bather type person. Number two, vintage versus modern. Some guys or women love their vintage fragrances, like Polo Green, Drakkar Noir, Brut, Old Spice. Some people like their more modern fragrances, like the Creed Aventus, or maybe these newer fragrances that are coming out. The vintage fragrances can make you smell like an old man, or maybe even just stink funny. But the modern fragrances can make you smell like a kid, can smell like bubble gum. A lot of these modern fragrances are very youth-oriented, I guess, because the marketing and the advertising seems to be geared towards the younger crowd. So you might want to figure out what kind of fragrance your significant other is into before you get involved, because if you don't like vintage fragrances or if you don't like modern fragrances, you might have to deal with that stench for the rest of your life. Number three, cheapy but goody versus limited edition bust head bottle. So basically what I mean is that a lot of guys out there, women, pride themselves on being able to have a nice little collection, maybe 5 or 6 bottles for under $100. Some people want to go out there and buy these $500-600 bottles with the fancy presentations, the bust heads, the diamond crusted bottles, and all that. And the reason this can be an issue because finances are a big friction point in relationships. So, do you want to be with somebody that's gonna, test your finances because they're always looking for something expensive, hard to find, out of your price range, and can cause a lot of issues. So yeah, that's something. And number four, I put signature scent versus large collection. Some people can be completely happy with just one fragrance. I work with a guy, he wears Prada Carbon pretty much every day, and it works for him and he loves it, and that's pretty much all he needs. Some people aren't happy until they have 500 or 600 bottles in their collection. Again, that could cause some finance issues, and maybe you don't want to be with somebody that smells the same every day. Maybe you want to be with somebody that mixes it up and smells a little bit different every day. Number five, feminine versus unisex versus masculine. So We know that fragrances generally fall into one of three categories: feminine, unisex, masculine. If you're with a guy and he smells like a girl, that could be a problem for a lot of people. If you're with a woman that smells like a guy, that could be a problem. You know, you always hear, well, you smell like my ex-boyfriend, you smell like my ex-girlfriend. Imagine being in a relationship with a girl that smells like your dad or your brother. That could be a problem in the bedroom. I don't think that's something most people are going to have to deal with. Same with a guy. You know, you don't want to be with a guy that smells like your sister or your mom. So, yeah, I think this is something that needs to be addressed as well. Think about these things. Maybe it would be good if they came out with like a fragrance survey for people to take before they get married, especially if both members of the relationship are heavily into fragrances. Like maybe there would be like a cruise that would just focus on singles and fragrance lovers, and then you'd hook up. But you're like, well, let's make this official. Let's take this quiz. Make sure we're really compatible with one another before we make this, a long-term marriage or relationship. So that's pretty much it today. Please comment down below if you enjoyed this video, or if you have any other issues that you think could be a problem in a relationship in terms of fragrances and marriage. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.